Good morning, everybody. It's your boy Scriv, and today we are doing part 2 of our character analysis for the former captain of Squad 5, Sosuke Aizen. Now, before we get into that, if this is your first time here on my channel, thank you guys for coming out and spending just a little bit of time with me. Make sure that you guys hit that subscribe button as well as give this video a thumbs up, because that does help the channel gain exposure within the YouTube community, as well as hit that notification bell so that when I drop content just like this every week, you guys will be the first to know. So, continuing on from part 1 of Sosuke Aizen, we learned exactly who and how he was in the Soul Society arc. And just to recap, he basically was the main antagonist this entire time. And so now he departed from the Soul Society, going into Wako Mundo with Gin Ichimaru as well as Kaname Tosen. So when the Arrancar arc picks up, we begin to learn as well as see just exactly what it is that Aizen is doing currently, as well as everything that he was doing when he faked his own death. So when it comes to the Arrancars are basically hollows who have ripped off their mask but have also gained the powers and abilities of a Soul Reaper. And so when Aizen had faked his death, he was basically going around Wako Mundo, basically recruiting Vastolore Hollows to, be on his team or on his side. Now, one thing that I really did like about this particular arc was we got to see some new characters. We got to learn some things about former characters, as well as we see the story progress even more, because the Arrancar arc, as well as the Wako Mundo and the Fate Korokorotan arc, all they all coincide with each other, as well as I guess you could say it's a sequel to the Soul Society arc. Now, we did see a few flashbacks of how he recruited all of the Vastolore Hollows, and once he basically gave them their powers through the Hogyoku, he basically turned them into what is known as espadas. And so there's actually 10 espadas, going from Coyote Stark all the way up until Espada 10 Yami. Now, I forgot Yami's last name, so forgive me with that. But as the story basically was progressing, we also learned, how tyrannical Aizen is. And so, example of that, when Ichigo, Chad, as well as Uryu basically broke into Wako Mundo, he formed a meeting with his 10 Espada to let them know, hey, this is what the situation is. We need to we're going to take care of it, but don't worry about it for now. Now, mind you, paraphrasing with that. Now, one of his espadas, Grimjow, Jaggerjack, he's basically the rebel out of the Espada. And so Grimjow was like, no, we need to take care of them now. I'm going and stuff. Now, mind you, all the Espada came into the meeting. They sat down. Tosen and Gin served them hot tea. Grimjow, wasn't having it. Aizen calmly, sitting at the end of the table, is like, hey, I need for you to sit back down. We're not done with this meeting. Grimjow refused, so all Aizen did was look at Grimjow, release his spiritual pressure, and basically put Grimjow in check. Now, the reason why Ichigo, Chad, and Uryu had went to Hueco Mundo was because Aizen wound up sending Espada number 4. No, yeah, Espada 4, Ukiura Shifa, to basically, I guess you could say kidnap Orihime. And so when word got out that Orihime basically went to Hueco Mundo with Ukiura, it was the way that it was set up. It made everybody think that Orihime went by her own free will. And so head Captain Yama, told Ichigo, don't go. Like, she went on her own free will. She is now an enemy. Ichigo knew, like, no, that's not how she is. So, of course, they go. And so we also see another flashback of basically how Aizen, recruited all of the Espada. Now, Espada number 2, Barigon Luisenborn, was actually the former king of Hueco Mundo. And so here come Aizen, Gin, and Tosin. They just, pop up to the crib and stuff's like, hey, we're here and whatnot. This is what you're going to do. This is what you're not going to do. And you have no choice about it. So, of course, Aizen wind up beating Baragon, recruiting everybody and stuff like that. And so now when it comes to the Arrancar arc, it's more of a, I guess you could say, more of a fleshed out story about the Espada. You really don't see Aizen a lot. Now, when it comes to the final fight in the fake Korakora Town arc, of course, the captains, they pop up to the battlefield, and then here comes, Aizen, Gin, Tosin with all the other surviving Espada. And now Yama wind up putting Tosin, Gin, and Aizen in a pretty much a barrier so that everybody can take care of the underlings first, then get to them. Now, this particular arc, the fake Korakura Town arc, at the beginning, Act 1, it went by, it was a little bit more fleshed out and ran a little bit longer than what I actually wanted it to. Because, it was a fight between all the Espadas that was in Korakura Town. But then, when we get to Act 2, the fight between Tier Haribel and Toshiro, Aizen, I guess he was basically fed up with the fact that Tier was taking just a little bit longer than what he wanted to. So, again, you see just exactly how tyrannical Aizen is, because he just cut down Haribel and that was it. But then, when he started fighting all the other captains, Momo, come to find out, she did survive from when Aizen impaled her. Momo shows up to the battlefield. Now, mind you, she's frail, she's, weak and tired, but she keeps referring to Aizen as captain. And Rangiku had to make her realize he's no longer your captain. And that goes to show just exactly how deep Aizen groomed her. So, when all the captains basically were fighting Aizen, he, of course, was one-upping everybody. Now, one thing that I do like was that when it came to the Visors. Now, the Visors are basically former Soul Reapers. A few captains, I think it was about 3. Yeah, it was the Visors are 3 former captains, 2 former lieutenants, as well as one of the Keto Corps members. And Aizen basically experimented on them, trying to, basically perfect the powers of the Hogyoku. So just like, Aizen gave Hollows the powers of a Soul Reaper, he gave these Soul Reapers powers of a Hollow. But it was also a failed experiment. So Aizen's former captain, Shinji Harako. Aizen was Shinji's lieutenant, right? Now, Shinji never really did like Aizen. Always kept him at a distance. And so, what I like about the two of them with their minor fight is that Shinji's Zanpakuto Sagenade is basically, I guess you could say, it's kind of parallel to Aizen's Zanpakuto Kyoko Suigetsu. Because with Kyoko Suigetsu, it basically, you're under complete hypnosis. But with Sagenade, your senses and your reality is warped. So basically the way that Shinji explained it was, left is right, up is down, forward is backwards, but then at the same time, is it really? Because backwards can be left and, up can be diagonal, like that. So of course, when Aizen kind of figured everything out, yeah, one-shotted Shinji. But then when all the other captains got into the fight, Toshiro wound up actually stabbing Aizen, like just impaled him in the back, right? But then when Aizen looked, what he did was he still had everybody under his complete hypnosis. But Aizen looked again and was like, what are you looking at? Like, you do realize I'm over here, right? When Toshiro realized what he had done, he actually wound up impaling Momo. Aizen somehow controlled Momo into getting into the battlefield. That still never was explained. But then moving forward, we then now at the beginning of the Around Car arc, we learned that Ishin Kurosaki, who is Ichigo's father, is actually a former captain. Now, Ishin joins the battlefield, as well as Yoruichi, and then Kisuke Uehara. So, with that, there was a plan that was set up. Kisuke, came in and stuff, basically, was actually doing relatively good against Aizen. And wind up actually hitting him with, a few ketos. But then Aizen started going through these dramatic transformations and stuff because of the powers of the Hogyoku. And so with that, that's when he started getting more powerful. He first went through like this cocoon stage, then, kept transforming after that, to where he wound up going to like what everybody calls a butterfly mode. But then later on, with his final fight with Ichigo, going to like this demonic looking butterfly mode, or moth whatever. And so towards the end of the or the second act of the Fate Korotan arc, Ichigo had went through a training. with Ishimi. So Ichigo comes, fights Aizen, but then he has this final or this last technique called the final Getsuga Tensho, as well as another technique called the Morgets. As Aizen is being won up by Ichigo, Ichigo does his final Getsuga Tensho, as well as his Morgets technique. That seemed to kind of work, but then out of nowhere, when Aizen was getting ready to attack again, that's when you see like these I don't know exactly, like the shape that they took was kind of like a sword and whatnot, but it was like these keto techniques. Come to find out that Kisuke had implanted keto in keto. And so when he was hitting Aizen with the keto that he implanted in the keto were basically emerged in Aizen to take effect whenever the Hogyoku, basically dropped its guard. I know that sounded a little confusing, but hopefully you understand what I'm saying. So basically, before because Aizen was getting sealed, in my part 1 video, Aizen, did, say that he wants to stand above all. So we then find out that his whole point in all of this was to basically destroy the real Karakura town, gain the spiritual pressure of all the humans in Karakura town, and create something called the Oken, or the King's Key, so that he can enter the royal palace and basically, kill God himself, and take his place. But before he can do that, he basically, he hit a dead end. And so the last of Aizen that we see is that he's basically, chained to a wall because they were able to get new Central 46 members. And his original sentence was 27,000 years. Mind you, Aizen is immortal. Now, it's not that I remember. I don't know if it's stated that the Hogyoku gave Aizen the powers of immortality, or Aizen had always been immortal since the day he was born. But if you guys know, hey, comment below. Let me know that little tidbit of information. And so when Aizen got his sentence of 27,000 years, he basically was still talking a lot of mess. So he angered the Central 46 members so much to where they upped his sentence to 45 or 47,000 years. And so they wind up wrapping him up to where the only thing that was visible was his left eye. And so now that's the last that we see of Aizen after that. And so now this does end part 2 of this portion of his analysis. And so when we come back next week, we are going to talk about his, basically his final role in the 1,000-Year Blood War arc, as well as my personal thoughts and opinions about Aizen overall in general. So this has been your boy Scriv. Again, thank you guys for coming out and spending a little bit of time with me. And so make sure that you guys come back next week for part 3 of our character analysis of the former captain of Squad 5, Sosuke Aizen. So, see you guys later.